When I think of a support weapon, I think of a weapon that is something that is strong and almost overpowered in a way. A weapon to help you in situations that grants you fire superiority. I think of something like the rocket launcher from Halo, the BFG from Doom, even the golden gun from Destiny. Just weapons that make you feel strong. That's why I'm in a weird place with one of the machine guns from Helldivers 2, the Stalwart. Now, I never played the first Helldivers, and I really want to, but in the first game, the Stalwart was a primary weapon. Basically, it basically made someone the saw gunner of a fire team. Looking at the MGs of Helldivers 2, it seems as though they are quote-unquote tiers of the same weapon. The Stalwart, a tier 1 weapon, low damage, light penetration, hell of a lot of ammo, and able to reload on the go. Tier 2 is the MG43, lower ammo, medium penetration, better damage, and you reload in a set position. Then Tier 3 is the heavy machine gun, highest damage, lowest fire rate, lowest ammo, slowest, still medium penetration, but can damage certain structures over the MG43. To me, it really seems as, yes, it is a personal preference, but having 3 options of not just the same weapon, but the same principle, it makes the Stalwart at a disadvantage. Sure, it can damage bigger targets, it just takes a lot longer than it does with the MG43. Like in Behemoth and normal chargers, there are random inconsistent points in their legs that you can shoot through with the Stalwart, just as you can with the MG43. But let's focus on a specific enemy, the Brood Commander. The Stalwart takes like 2 or 3 times longer, it feels like, to kill a Brood Commander compared to the MG43. Now, I know you can say the same thing about the comparison of the MG43 and the heavy machine gun, but when it comes down to the MG43 and the Stalwart, it just seems like the MG43 still seems to dominate. That's where the big difference of the Stalwart versus the MG43 and the conversation of the MG43 versus the heavy machine gun. When it comes to the MG43 and the heavy machine gun, that seems to be more of the preference area, while the Stalwart and the MG43 seems like I think the MG43 can handle a little bit more than the Stalwart can. And again, the Stalwart has its advantages and it is extremely fun to use. It just seems like the MG43 still carries more benefits. Now, listening to the veterans of Helldivers, this is why I think the game devs need to make the Stalwart a primary weapon. There are tweaks necessary to make it fit that spot, like lowering the ammo, but I think it would make it more useful. And I know people would probably talk about a power imbalance with this MG and the automatic rifles, but there's probably a way to work around that. But anyways, I think the Stalwart would be more useful for people and make it more helpful in terms of stratagem loadouts if it's put in a primary weapon slot. Moving on from the change I am hoping to see in this upcoming update, the Stalwart is just so much fun, like extremely fun. I still have my heart set on all the MGs, I love each and individual one, but the Stalwart is just so much fun for crowd clearing. It struggles to take out larger enemies like I mentioned earlier, Brood Commanders. It still takes care of those light armored targets. Like, I set this thing up and the blood from my head just goes straight to my wiener. Not even the cleanest wipe from the best shit of your life could scratch the itch like the Stalwart would. I've used this thing at level 9 missions. It's just been so much fun. I find myself providing fire support for my teammates that constantly get swarmed. And just for my teams, I just love being a gunner and being a support role. It just brings me back to Battlefield 3, 4, and 1, where I would just run support and just give teammates ammo and help take heat off their overly toasted buns. I cannot emphasize enough how MGs just overall are just so underrated. Like, just watching the visual feedback we get from watching Terminids and automatons get ripped apart, it just satisfies my pea-sized brain that craves the feeling of a last stand on a battlefield. And the weapon just feels smooth, like smoother than an alopecia patient's head, and the sound of it while firing just makes me go insane with joy. So when I say give it a try, give it a try. And I know it's not a meta or anything like that, but it helps to have. Like, having just one man running an MG in your fire team, even 2, is so beneficial. Those swarms of terminids or automatons won't overwhelm you as often, and you can operate in the AO with some ease, and you won't constantly be running, or at the least you'll have room to breathe.
Our journey to victory has begun! Death to the
Terminids.